Investigation revealed many scammers are actually themselves victims of human trafficking.
Oh, snap.
Like this Indian man named Rakesh. Imprisoned in this armed compound in Myanmar, he was forced to work pretending to be a Russian woman targeting Americans online.
Like they're providing for us. I got a Russian girl. With using a Russian girl fake profile, I need to scam the people.
Investigators warn of a mass transfer of wealth, stealing billions of dollars from.
Yo, like I hadn't watched all of this. So, I mean, of course, scammers pretend, to be people and all of this stuff. What just blew my mind was that dude himself has been human trafficked. He doesn't even want to be doing it. He locked up in a building somewhere pretending to be a Russian girl for other people, not even for himself. Wow. Yo, man, happy to be back here. Was off for a minute, was on a little vacation, lost my phone, day one of an 8-day vacation. So I basically did not exist, couldn't get into anything, but we'll get into that later because it ties into a little bit of what tonight's overall theme is. And it's about scams and scamming and scammers. And of course, the poster child and the face of scamming right now is the self-proclaimed super mayor, Miss Tiffany Henyard. And yeah, she's scamming and there's corruption there. But I wanted to use this live stream to go over some scamming all around because we've got hot dogs, we've got baseball, we've got apple pie. But is scamming becoming another American pastime? Is it becoming another thing that Americans are being known for? Because all across the board, we be scamming. Scams everywhere. But anyway, we're going to get into that. We're going to cover some local people, pastors, restaurant owners, more government officials. Of course, Miss Henyard, the poster child, but also corporations because they also scam as well. They get contracts, don't fulfill their obligations, get sloppy, cost the taxpayers a lot of money, sometimes lives. We're going to get into all of that. But anyway, Miss Shara Joe, thank you so much for being here. Yes, we were talking about Jason and the live streams. Jason will text me, man, at 5:30 in the morning. And sometimes I text him back because that's what old people do. Go to sleep early, we up early. But anyway, we're going to jump in to, let's see what we got going on here first for a night of scamming. Let's get a little bit of, it's a little quiet in here. Let's get a little bit of background music going on. Just a little bit. All right. And then let's see what we got for the first article of scams. Oh, and really right quick, I did a poll earlier today where I wanted to know who you guys thought were the biggest victims of scams. And I had the choice of nobody. Scams are a victimless crime. I had the individual victims themselves, the person that was scammed. I had companies / corporations, and then I had the community / the nation. And I think it was a 60-40 split between two answers, which was the individual victim themselves and the community. The community / nation got 40% of the votes. And I'm happy to find out that this fine community here at the Independent Mail did not think that scams were a victimless crime, because a lot of people do. A lot of people's like, scamming, no big deal. Insurance company will pay for it, whoop de whoop de whoop, and no harm, no foul. And that's really not the case, because when insurance companies have to pay out too much, everybody's premium for whatever that sector of that industry is goes up. When companies and corporations have to spend a lot of resources for loss prevention, for trying to detect fraud, for trying to decide whether to issue chargebacks for identity theft and credit card abuse and debit card abuse and things of that nature, when they have to spend money and resources doing that, or they outsource it to somebody else, they roll that into the cost. They roll that into the cost for the goods and the services that you and I pay for. So we end up being also people that are affected overall by scams. We're also inconvenienced by scams. What do you mean? Okay, well, like I said, I was out of the country in Costa Rica and I lost my phone. Oh, snap. First day. Costa Rica is not a place where you go waltz down to the AT&T and Apple store. There aren't any. Okay. So once I didn't have my phone, I almost did not exist. Nothing I had worked. My work phone, my work computer was a brick. Couldn't use it because my phone received codes to get into it. Couldn't use my YouTube channel, brick. Well, no big deal. You're on vacation. Well, guess what else I couldn't do? Couldn't mess with any of my bank accounts. Why? Because how did it want to verify that it was me? It wanted to send something to my phone. Why are all of these things a necessity? Why do we have to call our credit card or banking service providers and let them know that we're leaving the country, and in a lot of cases prior to, so that our cards still work when we get there? Why do these things happen? Because of scams. We have had to adopt these types of behaviors because of things that other people do. So scams are a huge problem that all of us in the community / country end up having to pay for, and we end up being victims of. But I want to jump into a cryptocurrency story right quick. Harmless scam. You know, you probably heard these sort of things 1,000 times. Somebody overseas, you know, start communicating with people via Facebook. You probably get them all the time and ignore it. It's like, hey, blah, 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 I'm blah, blah, blah. And you spam it, keep going. Well, the reason they do this is because everybody doesn't do that. Some people start to interact with them. So let's check out a quick story where a man got involved with the cryptocurrency deal. Let's say, hold on a second, right quick. I think Shark got what you got. What we got? What we got? What? See, verification. And then see, and like immediately you like, oh no, my pictures or whatever, which those, you know, that's a whole nother thing when you lose those because you don't back them up like you should. But verification, these phones help us verify everything. And why is that necessary? Because of scammers. But anyway, let's get to this. Let's get to the crypto story right quick. Where is it?
That it was I was 100% sure that it was the scam. It crushed him. It like took the life out of him.
It has only been a couple months since Matt and Adrian suddenly lost their father.
I mean, our father was the grand optimist. He was always. And they extinguished that for him.
Turn it up some.
I meet them at Adrian's home in Northern Virginia, where their father's ashes have yet to be buried. Dennis Jones was an avid photographer, guitarist, and loving grandfather. But last summer, Dennis started withdrawing from the family, instead talking daily to a woman he met on Facebook.
Ad blocker.
The profile's name here is Jesse Shu. Do you think this person exists?
No.
Over time, Jesse convinced Dennis to invest in cryptocurrency. He
Invest,
pumped
bro.
more and more money in until it suddenly disappeared. Text messages show Dennis was desperate, and yet his children say he still trusted his friend named Jesse.
I do believe he loved the person that he believed was behind that profile.
Corinna, who works in biotech in Northern
And right quick, she said she do believe he loved the person. So again, oftentimes these scammers come across as quote unquote love interests before they start the scamming stuff. So they build some fake relationship, you know, online, and then they start coming with the invest in, or somebody needs to be bailed out, or some of these goofy things, or I mean, the list goes on.
California, is also the victim of an online cryptocurrency scam.
Were you in love?
I was. Yeah, I really felt like I trusted this person.
She says she first met her scammer on the dating app Bumble.
How much money did you lose?
In the end, I ultimately lost $150,000.
Okie dokie.
I mean, I went into a depression. I was
Bro.
depressed. I ashamed, embarrassed that I had done all this without sharing it with anybody.
I've been a prosecutor for over 25 years. I spent 9 years in.
I mean, and the thing is 150K is devastating to most of us. And she had the good story of just going into depression. You saw the first couple were like, they lost their dad. There was no just depression for him. He's out of here because of scams, a victimless crime.
In sexual assault, and I've never seen the absolute decimation of people that I have seen as a result of pig butchering.
Erin West is a deputy district attorney in Northern California, specializing in online crypto scams she calls pig butchering.
We've got over $5 billion in losses.
In 2023.
In 2023.
I think that has something to do with quote unquote fattening the victim up before, starting with the scam or getting the cash out. That term pig butchering she just used.
And that's up 38% from last year. And when crime is growing at 38%, that's something you better keep your eyes on.
Using fake social media profiles.
Right quick, Shara. You see, I said to most of us that it's devastating to lose. Not saying it wasn't for her. She said she went into a depression. But bro, I don't care what you're texting or IMing me. 150, getting 150.00 is going to be very difficult. All of those zeros? Okay. All right. I'm with you, Shar. I don't know.
Scammers spend months gaining the confidence of their victims before convincing them to invest in cryptocurrency through fake websites. Those platforms claim huge profits until the money suddenly disappears into the pockets of criminal gangs, mostly based out of Southeast Asia. A 2023 CNN investigation revealed many scammers are actually themselves victims of human trafficking, like this Indian man named Rakesh. Imprisoned in this armed compound in Myanmar, he was forced to work, pretending to be a Russian woman targeting Americans online.
Like they're providing for us. I got a Russian girl. With using a Russian girl fake profile, I need to scam the people.
Investigators warn of a mass transfer of wealth, stealing billions of dollars from.
Yo, like I hadn't watched all of this. So, I mean, of course, scammers pretend, to be people and all of this stuff. What just blew my mind was that dude himself has been human trafficked. He doesn't even want to be doing it. He locked up in a building somewhere, pretending to be a Russian girl for other people, not even for himself. Wow.
From ordinary Americans. And this year, they predict it will only get worse.
Many of these perpetrators are beyond my reach. And in order to establish deterrence, we need to prosecute some individuals who are running these operations in Southeast Asia. U.S.
law enforcement say they have yet to arrest a single scammer, though the U.S. Secret Service has had better luck in recouping some of the lost money.
We've been able to claw back, millions, but it's still a small percentage compared to how much is going overseas.
Which is billions.
The scammers flood social media sites to ensnare victims. Tech companies like Meta, Match Group, and Coinbase say they're trying to spread awareness about the threat. But Deputy District Attorney Erin West says that's not enough.
An enemy has declared war on the rest of the world without really telling any of us that we are at war, and we are not fighting back.
Corinna says she spent hours every day exchanging romantic texts with the person she thought she loved.
It's heartbreaking for me to see the state that I was in.
By the time she realized she'd been defrauded, Corinna says she took out
Defrauded.
high-interest loans, borrowed money from loved ones, and had to move back in with her mother.
Okie dokie, Shara, and there goes our answer to the $150,000 question. She didn't have it laying around. She had to borrow and scrape in order to give this to some scammers. Wow. That is some serious pig butchery.
Timeline like for repaying your debts, right?
Probably 10 years.
After Dennis Jones took his own life, his adult children were left piecing together what happened by looking through his Facebook messages.
And he's saying these are basically evil people. I did not know that such people existed. And he ends it with the ultimate pain here is that I've betrayed my family's trust. This is unbearable.
In early March, Matt, Adrian, and their sister Laura planned to have a meeting to help out their father. The plan was for him to move in with Adrian here in Virginia.
Unfortunately, the day that we were supposed to have the meeting is the day that we found out he died. You know, he died embarrassed, ashamed, you know, financially devastated and heartbroken. And if sharing our story helps somebody else or another family, then it's worth it.
Somebody that had worked all his life. I believe they said he was 67 years old. Grandfather, father. 67 years old. Gone. Whoever the scammers are, still living their best lives. No harm, no foul to them, no sweat off of their backs. All good. Victimless crime. And you know what, Shara? I wonder if we're talking, if I'm thinking about the guy that you put up with the computer hacker dude, because I've seen a guy that that sets up scammers, and he'll go the whole nine and everything with them in order to get as much information as he can about and from them until they quit messing with him. And so there is a guy that does some excellent videos with tracking down scammers. I really like him. So you know, that was a sad story, and it was kind of extreme to be like, oh, let's start off the live stream, you know, with someone that had taken their own lives, and another lady that as an adult, she looked like she was middle-aged, had to move back in with her parents after taking out $150,000 in loans and whatnot over scammers. Crimes that a lot of people think aren't a big deal. No harm, no foul. Just the insurance industry. Okay. Well, it's a few YouTube channels out there to do that. So let's check out another recent result from scammers. No harm, no foul. Victimless crime, right? This again, the elderly is involved. This time, two elderly people. The victim of the scam and somebody that had nothing to do with it. Let's check this one out right quick.
Behind me is where a scam call turned deadly, and I'm going to step out of the way here so you can get a look here. The man who lives here is accused of shooting and killing an Uber driver. He now faces a murder charge and potential other charges. According to reports, authorities say William Brock had been receiving multiple threatening scam calls the morning of March 25th. The calls were concerning an incarcerated relative, and Brock was told to meet at the courthouse to pay a ransom of $12,000 in bail money, or they would kill him and his relative. Around the same time of the call, Lolitha Hall received directions from the same person or an accomplice, instructing her to go to Brock's home to pick up a package for delivery. Dashcam video from Hall's car shows her arrived.
This lady's just working. Where did they say she was? 60 something? 60 something years old, probably trying to supplement Social Security, working for Uber. And this is what she comes to. Not even directly involved with the scam, not a scammer, not the victim, just somebody doing their job that day.
To Brock's home to pick up that package. According to reports from the Clark County Sheriff's Office, Brock allegedly had a gun. This video appears to confirm that. The incident report says Brock allegedly took Hall's phone and wouldn't let her leave, and when she tried to go, authorities say Brock then shot Hall. They started fighting, and he shot her 2 more times. Authorities received a call from Brock saying he had shot someone on his property because they were trying to rob him. When units arrived, they found Hall with multiple gunshot wounds, and Brock was bleeding from his head. Hall was flown to Kettering Hospital in Dayton, where she died. Reports say while officials were on scene, Brock's landline phone kept ringing, and when one officer picked it up, the man on the other line said he was an officer. And the real officer explained what happened and asked the caller to meet. And he agreed, but never showed up.
Of course
We
he
reached
did.
out to Uber, and they responded with this statement saying, in part, quote, "There is no other way to describe this incident than a horrific tragedy. Our hearts continue to be with Lolitha's loved ones as they grieve her sudden loss. We have been in contact with law enforcement and remain committed to supporting their investigation." End quote. Uber also went on to say the account of the individual who ordered the Uber trip has been banned. The sheriff's office is also reminding residents to be extra cautious and that no law enforcement agency or court will call you and demand for bail money over the phone. That goes for any other court functions as well. Reporting in Springfield, Grace Hewitt, 2 News.
Like Shara said,
Tonight,
insane.
Justin Timberlake arrested.
Oh, we don't need you. Insane. Did I throw up extreme examples? And these are recent, but yes, they're very extreme. They're extreme cases, but I bring these up because, again, a lot of people, I know, a lot of people think scamming is a victimless crime. At the most, we're going to inconvenience some insurance people, and that's not the case. People lose their lives. People take their lives. People end up with situations where it takes years for them to recover. These are just these individuals. The one lady wasn't even involved in the scam. She just went to work that day, lost her life over a scam. Family having to bury people over scams. And what happens to the scammers in most cases, especially these overseas ones? Nothing. Nothing.